Good day, good day. This is Mr. Anderson. I've realized as I've evolved, it really, I'm seeing people. I'm seeing the sides of people. I'm understanding people. I'm understanding mindsets and what's the word I'm looking for? I guess reality. It's all about reality. People's reality and my perspective of that reality in that person or in people. And that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, or can't teach a old dog new tricks. Yeah, it really has some. It's really truthful in some sense. You know, you have your percent. We do percentages, which I like percentages. I think probably 10% of people probably really do change. I'll take that back. It might be a higher number. I think we all change. I just think it's different. It could be a higher level of change in people. Yeah, some people just don't want to change. Some people just have to be in charge. Some people, and it's crazy to me in some sense. You just get this top flight security of the world type mentality. And people get a little power, or people get a little money, or people get influence. Yeah, but I understand, man. It's just these systems. It's these systems that we live in. And it affects people differently. Yet how is that in relationships? Like, I don't know. I think we've gotten away from true teamwork, and I understand why. This everything is system based that I've learned throughout my experiences and understanding and paying attention to things, and I see trends, I see data, I see the way we function, or people function, or the way this world functions, and it's just crazy, you know. And I love the mind. I think our minds are starting to wake up. Excuse me. I think our minds are starting to wake up with technologies and just understanding of self. I think I was gonna do a shameless plug, but I'll save that to when I'm ready. But I really think we evolve, yet our evolution is based off of distractions. You know, I never thought about that till now. I think, and it makes sense. If we evolve in a way that's productive, it's got to be in a way that we evolve to produce for the system, for a system. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, yet we have to direct ourselves in purpose. I think we really do have to direct ourselves in purpose and understand what that purpose is. And I know what probably 80% of people think is money. Yes, let that be money. If it is money, let it be money. It be money, but if there's enough out there to go around. I think that's the thing that people don't realize. But you have to earn it. You have to create to earn it. You have to. It's not going to be given to you. Regardless of what you've been through or what you've done or whatever, you have to actually create it for yourself. You can earn it, yet that caps it at a certain level. You know, and that's one of the things that I'm seeing and I'm understanding, like that I'm understanding and that I see, because things can get taken away from you that's not yours. People buy things from you that is yours. Message. Let me say that again for the people in the back. People can take away from things that is not yours. People buy things from you that is yours. Man. That's deep. And it is. It is. It's you look at things, especially if it's conducive. That word's been that was floating in my mind just since I've started. But that's conducive to the system. Conducive. That's the right word. But I have to look that up. But that conducts current and currency. That produces currency. Man, all one a day. But man, I blew my own mind there for a minute. You have to create. You have to be creative. And I know everything is not for everybody. This is going to go over a lot of people's head. Yet there's still a purpose in all of this. You can still be a creator in your life and to help give something, you know, whether it be a smile, a high five, or a word of encouragement, or whatever field you're in, or religion you're in. Give a piece of that. Give a piece of that. When people buy, you know, anything can be taken away from you that's not yours. I mean, that's jobs, housing, cars, any materialistic thing can be taken away from you if it's not yours. If it's yours and you've created it and it's a need for it, it's a want for it, people are going to want it. Somebody's going to buy it from you. Especially if it's good, it has resource, like it is a resource or it has resources. You know, it's people going to buy it. People going to want it. So, you know, create if you can. But we could change the narrative of our mind and our mindset. It's just a lot, man. It's just a lot of value being devalued, and people acting or reacting in fear. That's mainly what it is. It's fear. You know, I'm really seeing that fear is the root of it all. Is the root of it all. That emotion. That's what one of the main sources of these systems is fear. The fear of. And I've heard people talk about how they wish they would have done something, but it was fear that kept them from doing it. It was fear. And, you know, that's when you ask people that are successful, that's what they say. Like, man, I had to get rid of fear. I did it. I had to stop doubting myself, and I had to do it. You know, I got up and I did it. You know, and that's why I'm going to instill in my children is, you know, don't be scared. Come on. You know, we're here to guide. We're here to guide up to a certain point. And then you be an example after that, and then you be a task to assist. So you evolve with that, and you evolve with that person. It's just people want to compete. The craziest part is in a relationship. Man, that's really crazy. Why are these men and women competing within each other in the marriage, in the relationship, even in work? No, in it all, it's really not about, and that's one thing I'm not doing. I'm done. I'm not competing. And I went, speaking of competing, off topic, I walked yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, Saturday. I walked 11 miles Saturday. I was in the zone. Actually, and then I actually jogged. I actually got some jogging in, and I was just like, wow, you know, I was pushing myself. I was like, let's see. And it was funny because I seen a guy, it was an African guy, or it might have been African, it might have been a black guy, but he wasn't from here. He was running, and he had on sandals, like the strap in the back, and then the one to go across your foot with the split your toes. He was running, jogging, running in those, and I was like, here I am with these nice shoes on, running, walking, and I'm just like, wow. And then it just made me think about different cultures, and you know, the have and have-nots of this world, and certain places and cultures and areas, they don't have what we have. They don't have access to what we have, and they don't take it for granted. They use what they have to do what they need. And man, now that I think about it, that really it sparked a jog in me, and I jogged, and I did. I jogged about 100 yards, or probably a little bit of 100 yards, and I was just like, wow. You know, I was impressed with myself, and it was like, dang, I was feeling every step, but it was calming after the first maybe 25 steps or 25 yards. It started to calm, and I was like, wow, you know. And I actually did that, and then I was actually looking for. It was supposed to be a music fest here, and they were giving away free backpacks, and I went to go see if I could go, and it was at a park, but they weren't setting up, and I was like, wow. So I was like, you know what? They had basketball goals and people's outside shooting. And I was like, man, I'm gonna shoot just a couple shots. So I got a basketball and was just shooting a few shots. And so the guy was like, you know, what, you want to run? You know, you want to run one? And I was like, yeah. So I didn't get picked up for the first game. And I was like, you know, I'm thinking I'm loose and everything. And I should have stretched. I should have stretched better. I did stretch a little bit, but I didn't stretch. Should have stretched better. So I got to playing, and of course I kind of pulled a little muscle. It wasn't nothing major, but I was able to stretch, walk, play through it. But I just seen how tired I was, and my wind wasn't where it was, and my abilities that I had growing up, you know, my speed had slowed down a little bit, and my agility had slowed down a little bit, but I still was aware, and I can see the difference in that. And you know, I wasn't able to run the full court that many times, but anyway, but it let me know where I was, and I enjoyed it. That was the thing. I was like, man, I enjoyed it. I had a great day. I probably altogether walked and ran 20 miles Saturday, and it just felt good. And I was like, man, I can really see doing this. And that's let me know that I've evolved. My mind has evolved in the sense that I'm able to see something that I enjoy doing, and it ain't about going to the gym. Like, man, I don't have to go to the gym. I'm really starting to enjoy, and I know I'm liking walking. I'm loving walking, and I can see that turning into me jogging. Eventually get to a point where I can jog 3 or 4 miles, you know, or 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever, how many ever miles, and get back into playing a little basketball. But anyway, it just felt good. So we have to get our mindset. We have to change our mindset. And it wasn't about competing. Really, for me, I don't like to lose. So, but I know I'm not where I was before. And we ended up winning the first game. We ended up winning my first game. And I was like, oh, because I was tired. So I ended up playing the second game. And I got halfway through that second game. And I was just like, I can't do this. My leg hurt. I'm sore. And let me not push it. And you got to know your limits. But that's our mindset. We have to understand our limits. We have to know, as much as I wanted to continue to play, I wasn't doing much for the team. You know, the guy that I was guarding that second game, he was killing me. He was killing me because I just was exhausted. And he, older guy, yet you could tell he had been out there a couple times. That was my first time shooting ball in, man, some years. Like 6, 7, 8 years. And it was funny because when I got done, I could hear them, you know, as I was playing, he can rebound, he blocking shots, you know, they seen my ability, like, dang, okay, he can play, he playing. And one of the guys came up to me after the game, and he was like, man, you play football? Of course I get that all the time. You play football? Did you play in the Arena League or something? Like, no. I said, actually I did, which I did. Try out and play, was on a team, but it didn't go nowhere. But anyway, you know, we just really have to, I see things, man, a lot of that I just don't want part of. I just distance myself away from people, situations, and if it's not conducive, I'm gonna have to look that word up. Conducive to my life, I just don't want it. I don't want to be around it, or I don't want to be around that person. And I was hit with a question yesterday that really, a couple days ago, that really had me thinking, And, as the days went on, and it was about a relationship. It was about relationship. It was about relationship. And I was just like, man, and I know why. I'm like, I'm not there yet. I'm not. I really want to focus on myself. I want to focus on getting what I want and my mindset and me getting over my past and the pain and suffering of my past. I don't want to bring any of that into anything new. And it's up to my growth. And then I don't want other people's perspective of the situation and what they're used to in their mind and their era is that the right word? If their decade or whatever, their span of life. If that's basically makes it more simple, but y'all know what I'm saying, era. They're, we all live in these different eras, and our era now is different than our parents' era and their parents' era. So that's what I'm meaning by this, because the things that our parents and the older generation went through, it's not where we are. We've evolved out of certain things, and just hearing the conversation and stuff, and remembering that conversation I had, it's just like, yeah, I understand why the older generation that's in their 70s, late 60s, late 70s, they think differently than we do in our era. So I can, like our parents, I can see why I was why that conversation went where it went. And I'm good. Like I said, I'm good. I've realized a lot of things. I understand a lot of things, and you can't change people's mind. All I can do is create a tool that can help people, but you have to use that tool. You have to use those tools. You have to use what we're given to kind of understand yourself. And you're gonna be mad. You're gonna cry. You're gonna be upset. Been there, done that. Another shameless plug. But that's why I create. That's why I create what I'm creating, doing what I'm doing. For us to really sit back and look at ourselves and see where we can change, if change. It ain't got to be a drastic change. It ain't got to be a drastic change. It could be a slowly, and that's what it is, a slow, gradual change. Take one day at a time, take one or two tasks at a time, and slowly get that business idea off the ground, or that idea you have for your job, or going back to school, or quitting and cooking cooking your food, or what you enjoy doing, and just finding what it is that you want to do. You want to be a pastor, go to be a pastor. You want to be musician, find that within yourself to align yourself with that. You want to be a mechanic, truck driver, manager, be that. You're not stuck where you are in the mindset you are. You can always evolve. And I don't want to be on here too long. It's almost 25 minutes. I really wasn't planning on being on there this long, but just I'm gonna have to chop these up. But anyway, just be free. Be a free thinker. Or open thinker. Let me put it like that. Be an open thinker. And don't just you can't. I don't argue. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue. I'm not. There's no reason for us to argue. There's no reason for us to argue. Our realities are different. You know, our understanding of life is different. I'm not going to try to change the way you think. I want to change the way you think. I want you to change the way you think, and use a tool that help you evolve your thinking. Yet you can still think the same way you think. It's just going to be a different thought. If that makes sense. So, I mean, it is what it is, as my brother would say. It is what it is. So, I'll leave you with that. Be you. Be who you really are. If you've made it through this video, thank you. All these are testimonies of my mind and what I see and what I hear, what I experience, and the knowledge I've gained through my life. And share it with the world. This is Mr. Anderson, and I approve this message.